Because 4 years is not far from today. 20 years is not far from today. 30 years is not far from today. Mr. Speaker, I'm not here to talk politics, but I'm here to address a situation that is confronting us as a nation. And we are the people's representative. Granted that yesterday...
Honorable Minority Leader, you know the rules that you have to address the chair.
Very well, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, granted that even yesterday it happened, and I did not see reason to address it. It does not stop me from addressing today, all for the good of our collective tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, that said, the respected colleague who is a medical doctor, Dr. Sandari, made a contribution and talked about health care. Mr. Speaker, we stay in Accra and we think Accra has everything and Ghana is a happy home. Mr. Speaker, it's not. The poverty out there. I travel through the countryside and I still see Atakwame buildings. Mr. Speaker, mad houses. I went to my village, our village, you and I, our village, in Yakonokwe. I was there, New Year, after visiting Chairman. I went to the village where I grew up, visited the family, and I saw poverty. No hospital, no water. In my own constituency, there are places that you see poverty. What he said is true. Today, people, though there is health insurance, because they cannot afford, they still resort to the traditional midwives. And they die and they attribute it to some other causes and they bury them quietly. This is not the promises that are enshrined in the Constitution. The promises that are enshrined in the Constitution include equal opportunity, justice, fairness, and it is for us as a political class to enforce these promises. We shouldn't pay lip service to these promises. It is a Ghanaian dream, a dream that the forebearers envisaged, and our duty as a ninth parliament is to lead in the process. So, if today is a commemorative day for social justice, this country must take it serious. A member for Awutu Senya East, where once upon a time I was a presiding member, has told us in clear terms that many people are going through challenges. But she was quick to assure us that this government is ready to put in place some policies to address these concerns. And in fact, Mr. Speaker, what she has said has become part of public record. And she has spoken as a member of the majority party and for and on behalf of government. And when it comes to accountability, we are going to associate ourselves with the statement and then through government assurance see to the implementation of these promises. So, Honorable Koyo Kuno, it is your duty, because you have made a very profound statement in very veritable words, and you've given assurances that this government is going to ensure that certain steps are taken in addressing social injustice. We look forward to that. Mr. Speaker, without more, let me thank all the makers of the statement, and thank the various contributors, especially the first-timers. The first-timers of this parliament have shown promise. I've seen a lot of determination, both sides, seeing their CVs, and when they're on their feet, it's as though they've done 2 terms or 3 terms. The confidence level, very high. We commend you. Continue with your research. There's a time for you to be doing more statements and be filing more questions. Let's get the national issues on the front burner. It doesn't matter your party. And let us hold the feet of government to the fire, not in the negative sense, but in the positive sense, all for the good of the people. Mr. Speaker, without more, let me thank you for this treasure space.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader. Honorable Majority Chief Whip, you have the floor.
Speaker, what else can I say than to thank you for the opportunity to comment on the joint statements, joint because, Speaker, 1 from the minority side, 2 from our side, in commemoration of today. Speaker, the United Nations organization has a whole commission on social justice. It's such an important concept in our modern governance anywhere. And somebody may ask, what does social justice mean? Speaker, it means the opportunity to have equal rights, economic, political, religious, cultural, and the law. Speaker, it therefore becomes a barometer by which every government or every nation's governance structure and systems are measured. And leaving the generals to the specifics, of course we will measure our governance structure back home by invoking these very indices. Speaker, yours truly, at variance with social justice. My residential home under construction, it was pulled down by operatives of government. There was no social justice, no court order, no court process. Somebody just exercised executive power of states arbitrarily. Speaker, my own uncle, the Venerable Hodari Okan, he was unfairly dismissed, fairly terminated from Ghana Immigration Service, and he proceeded to court. He obtained judgment. It took so long for the judgment there to be paid to him. That was no social justice. It was not. Mr. Speaker, there are members on this side. Just a couple of months ago, we were here. Their homes were raided by operatives of the state without recourse to law. That was no social justice. Mr. Speaker, social justice must resonate in everything that we do as a people and as a state. It's the only way we can ensure fairness. Speaker, exactly 8 years ago, 2017, 10 February or thereabout, the then newly appointed and confirmed Minister of Health, the Honorable Kwekwa Jumamenu, he wrote and terminated the appointment of 8,634 health personnel, nurses and other health personnel recruited into the health service without recourse to even the time of recruitment. I have the letter, I can show it to you. 10th February 2017. That was no social justice. It was not. As we speak, those employees whose employment and social benefits, socio-economic benefits are consequent upon those employment that were suspended, they remain in suspension. As we speak, they are sitting at home, they are grieving. That was no social justice. And so I agree with you, minority leader. I am saying so. But I didn't hear your high heaven cries in 2017. You were a formidable member of this house. So I agree that there must be a convergence zone. In plain language, there must be a convergence zone where we must do the appropriate things.
Honorable Minority Leader, don't engage the member on the floor.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, in April 2017, recruits that were undergoing training in the Sinfosu Ghana Immigration Training School, who had started training the November of the year before, they were not graduated. They were asked to go home. They have not been returned as we speak. So, Mr. Speaker, in 2001, the most common cliche on the streets of Accra and by extension Ghana was proceed on leave. Yes, 2001, many public servants who had served within the public, they were simply asked to proceed on leave, just to go home without recourse to lay down procedure. That was no social justice. That was no, Speaker. I believe
Order.
that today is such an auspicious day that going forward we must have recourse to standards, basic requirements, procedures, so that of tribal origin, cultural origin, religious coloration, and are qualified, they should find space in the public sector and contribute their quota without any recourse to, Mr. Speaker, I shudder to say it, but to political consideration. I am very happy that my brother touched on the issue of judicial tardiness in terms of matters before the courts. That, Speaker, you being our senior at the bar, when a matter is before the courts, the plaintiff, whoever the plaintiff is, it's immaterial. The same alacrity, zeal, speed that is brought to bear in dealing with all other matters must be exercised fairly in respect of all the cases before the courts. So yes, social justice today will speak in commemoration of that. But Speaker, I believe that I'll urge you to, in closing this matter, to give some general direction that as a nation, as a people, we should be guided by it. That is what ensures fairness. And not because of the length of my name, for instance, which summarily will point you to where I originate from this country. But given the even playing field, so we can exhibit our qualities as Ghanaians. My brother, the Chief Whip, speaks impeccable Ewe because he grew up among Ewes and attended Bishop Eman. And I got the opportunity to join him in the University of Cape Coast. So my Fante is pristine. And today we are here. That is the social cohesion that we have enjoyed and it's benefited us. So today you may see us, but like the elders will say, we are like two cockerels. We may be fighting, but we watch our eyes. We can't punch our eyes because we are brothers to the core. We may have our political dispensations, but by all means, let us be guided by simple standards so that every government has the power to exercise the executive power of state. So by all means, recruit. But I would love that we will be guided. There's always space in the public sector. So, Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity and I thank the makers. This is a major reminder to all of us that we must always think of the people and do what will be of social benefit, socio-economic, political, cultural benefit to them. So whatever social intervention programs that we implement as a people, as a government, they must go to benefit the people. I thank you for the opportunity and I thank the makers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I wish to add my voice to these very important statements ably made on social justice to mark the World Social Justice Day. Honorable members, social justice is the view that everyone deserves equal economic, political, and social rights and opportunities. Honorable members, social justice is a foundation for national development, peace, and stability. It is about ensuring that everybody, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, religion, economic status, physical ability, is treated equally. Social justice is a guide against all forms of discrimination. Honorable members, it is said that justice must not only be done, but it must manifestedly and undoubtedly be seen to be done. It is therefore the responsibility of all of us to work together to ensure that social justice prevail in the country. I once again thank the makers of the statement. Honourable members, we have another statement in honor of Abdul Kabiru Tahir Mahama, Doctor, MP for Wale Wale constituency, on curfew on Wale Wale and security personnel brutalities of residents. Is the honorable member around?
Speaker is here.
Very well. Honorable member, you have the floor.
Here. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Right Honorable Speaker, I am extremely grateful for the opportunity to make this statement on a rather unfortunate development in the Wale Wale constituency, the skirmishes that have led to the needless loss of lives, the act of lawlessness by the security personnel, and the subsequent imposition of curfew on Walewale and its environs. But before I proceed, Mr. Speaker, I want to convey my sincerest condolences to the families of the several innocent lives that have been lost due to the unfortunate developments. Mr. Speaker, the people of Walewale and its environs are now living in pain, apprehension, and fear. Therefore, the right decision must be taken at the right time. So, Mr. Speaker, I do not take this opportunity offered me lightly. Mr. Speaker, it is a notorious fact that criminal activities on the highway between Bolgatanga and Tamale, which passes through Walewale, is now a subject of national security. Before that, it was the Bolgatanga-Boku-Pulmankum route. Our inability as a country to deal with the situation has emboldened criminals to attack, maim, and kill innocent people and travelers. Mr. Speaker, there is a near-perfect correlation between the attacks on the Bolga-Boku-Pulmango route and the Tamale-Walewale and the Bolgatanga-Walewale-Tamale route. We must not mince words in condemning these attacks. We must also be swift in dealing with them because our indolence has created and will continue to create more vulnerabilities like Walewale for these criminals to exploit. Mr. Speaker, the recent development in Walewale. Mr. Speaker, the recent chaos in Walewale started on the 14th January 2025, where a stationary vehicle caught fire.
Second Deputy Speaker should take the chair.
Yes, Dr. Mahama, you may continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Recent development in Walewale. Mr. Speaker, the recent chaos in Walewale started on the 14th January 2025, when a stationary vehicle caught fire. The military went on rampage and brutalized several people who were leisurely sitting at a popular NDC base. Mr. Speaker, whilst the frustration of the security personnel is understandable, the professionalism required of them was betrayed. They were utterly careless, and a minute of due diligence could have saved the situation. Mr. Speaker, even though the military later on apologized for the unfortunate incident, the encroachment of civilian space by the military is a recipe for disaster if it is not curtailed. Mr. Speaker, the first recent reprisal attack of a vehicle occurred on the 10th February 2025 around Wulugu on the Bolga-Walewale route, where a vehicle was allegedly set ablaze. The second attack occurred on the 12th February 2025 in the Walewale Township, and the most recent occurred on the 14th February 2025. As I stated, all these had corresponding attacks on the Bolgatanga-Boku-Pulmankum route. The reaction of the military in these two incidents, in the case of Walewale, Mr. Speaker, was to beat up anyone on site on the main highway. Innocent residents of Kukwa, Logri, Walewale, Dimsi, and Wulugu, all communities along the highway were mercilessly beaten, resulting in the loss of one life. 2 journalists were also assaulted. Mr. Speaker, the actions of the military are distasteful as the attack of travelers by the criminals. By their actions, the military is complementing the criminal adventure of the bandits on the highway and must be investigated and perpetrators brought to book. Mr. Speaker, these recent reprisal attacks have caused the Minister of Interior to impose a curfew on Walewale and its environs. This decision is heavy-handed and the first of its kind to be imposed on a community that is relatively peaceful without prejudice to the activities of the bandits in the area, within the area. There is no conflict in Walewale or its environs. There is no factional war or fight within the constituency without which it would escalate. It does not make sense to punish residents in those communities because most of them are just victims. What is even surprising, Mr. Speaker, is that all the attacks occur on the Walewale Road during the daytime, outside the curfew hours. Mr. Speaker, I now make some proposals to ensuring peace and stability. Mr. Speaker, while appealing for the review of the curfew on Walewale, let me put on record that it is the principle that matter. Constituents that I represent on this matter are mixed tribe. Arguably, many of them are not Mampusis. So it is important we leave about politics and tribe on this matter. Respectfully, Mr. Speaker, I appeal that government lifts the curfew to bring life to normalcy in Walewale. Mr. Speaker, I have few suggestions that I think the government should consider in the interim while the relevant authorities deal with the underlying cause of the conflict. Number one, the Interior Minister should enhance the patrols and escort for travelers in the affected routes. I understand that vehicles are attacked under military or police escort in some of these areas, but this has never happened in the case of Walewale, and I believe it is workable. Number two, the police intelligence units must be deployed to affected areas to identify perpetrators akin to the approach they use in arresting armed robbers. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, the police service should enhance community engagement to elicit community support towards fighting the activities of these criminals. A call for direction, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to appeal to you to direct that a full-scale investigation be carried out to delve into the death of 2 persons in the last 2 weeks in the hands of the security. This will bring justice to the families of the deceased. I make this application considerate of the fact that the police are already investigating the attack and murder of innocent travelers through Bolgatanga-Walewale Tamale route. Mr. Speaker, thank you once again for the opportunity to make this statement, and I will kindly urge on you to consider this application as duly submitted. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, let me be frank with you. This particular statement went through a lot of discussion before its admittance. And therefore, we are going to be very, very circumspect in the comments. So the statement has been made, it has been captured, but I will only restrict it to leadership to make comments on it. We should know so leadership, I will make you to comment, but you are also advised to be guided, please. Yes, Minority Chief Whip.
Speaker, let me thank you and the First Deputy, as you rightly observed, that this morning we had to engage extensively to come to some good conclusion on same matter. I show complete solidarity to our colleague and his constituents. Quite unfortunate. Speaker, we've heard in the media space a reportage on this same matter, and I am happy that Parliament has found space for it to be entertained. We've read reports of excesses, some excess action staged on the part of the military and some security agencies, allegedly. So first of all, I think the national security outfit would have to up their surveillance, patrol, and activities in these areas aforementioned. It's equally important that we comment more responsibly on this subject matter, so that the matter doesn't get out of hand, the matter is controlled to a good conclusion. I have a lot of confidence in our minister, our own colleague, the Honorable Muntaka, who has shown promise in such subject matters. The House must show leadership, though, Speaker. Quite unfortunate, we don't have our Committee on Defense and Interior constituted. We also don't have our Committee on Intelligence constituted. So in the absence of that, what do we do so that we can still navigate properly and be security conscious and not to allow the matter to degenerate? Speaker, I dare suggest that it's important Parliament doesn't rest on its oars. We need to go in. We are the representative of the people, regardless of the fact that we have security experts in these matters. We must also bring our experience to bear and help the security outfit to navigate properly. To that end, I would wish to suggest that, Speaker, you give some consequential directives. This matter is raging on day by day. And my fear is that until something is done collectively from the outfit of Parliament and the outfit of our security agencies, it may degenerate. And we may come back to talk about this same matter and lament about it. So probably we can have a closed sitting. We can have a closed sitting, and because the military has also been mentioned in same matter, it is no more of an internal security concern. We can bring the Interior Minister and the Defense Minister at the same platform to carry us along. And Speaker, it should not be one-off. It should not just be one-off. We have to sustain a monitoring effort. The next 1 month or two, there should be a regular briefing on same subject matter, and it's important that security agencies and Parliament collaborate. It's unfortunate the needless loss of lives in these areas, and then the maker of the statement, the Honorable Kabiru, posits that the imposition of curfew, I'm not a security expert, but he gives a certain background which comes to support his conclusion that the imposition of curfew at Wale Wale is a suspect, and therefore it has to be reviewed. I cannot sit here and draw judgment. He is a member of Parliament from the area, and I'm sure he has good reasons to say what he said. But be as it may, I think we should, Speaker, as a matter of urgency, program the Defense Minister and the Interior Minister to appear before this House, and for us to get some briefing, and then this House will also be positioned, and the Member of Parliament can make the necessary input to help navigate the situation. We cannot wait until it gets out of hand, and we can only thank God that the matter hasn't degenerated so badly. But it's urgent that if we don't do anything about it, more lives will be lost, economic activity will be brought to an abrupt end, which will not benefit us as a country. So, Speaker, without more, I will only want to suggest that you give us some directives and ensure that we get the two ministers, both Interior and Defense, to attend upon this House at a closed sitting, mainly because of the subject matter, at a closed sitting, for us to purgate and engage appropriately on the same subject matter. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Majority Leadership.
Speaker, let me seek your leave to defer to the Honorable Tobu on this matter. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable Peter, I hope you take into consideration the earlier caution. So the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and let me thank leadership for yielding to me to make very important comments, as I feel very strongly about the statement that has just been delivered by my brother, the Honorable MP for Wale Wale, Dr. Kabiru. Mr. Speaker, as to whether the issue in Wale Wale is of pure criminal nature or it is a spillover of the Boko conflict, we will leave that one to the security agencies to investigate. But come what may, the loss of every single life in this country on matters of conflict is so needless, to say the least. The issue between Wale Wale and Bolgatanga, or Tamale and Bolgatanga, is taking a different dimension. He's made some important recommendations that the police intelligence department should be doing better by deploying more. He also requested that the curfew that is imposed should be looked at very carefully. Whatever it is, Mr. Speaker, as cautious as we want to be, Plato had it right when he said the greatest form of injustice is pretended justice. When we know what is right and we all close our eyes to the truth and go around talking over years about what the problem is and not willing to nip it in the bud, these are some of the things that will happen. I want to believe that the suggestions made by the Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Anodompre, that we should allow the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Interior, in a closed sitting, for them to give us update as what is happening in northern Ghana, particularly in relation to the Boko area. That is now gradually becoming a Boko area, including the Wale Wale area. I think it's a matter of worry to all of us. But I also want to recommend that apart from the Defense Minister and the Interior Minister, we should get the two chairmen of the two regional security councils involved. The chairman of the Upper East Regional Security Council and the chairman of the Northeast Regional Security Council, for them to come and brief this House what is actually going on. How can we come together as a nation to ensure that this matter is nipped in the bud? Pretended justice is the greatest form of injustice. And as cautious as I am, Mr. Speaker, I want to draw the curtains here, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Yes, honourable members, I think the request that we invite the Minister for Interior and that of Defense, I will leave it with the Business Committee to schedule him somewhere next week to come and brief us. I know next week the President of the Republic will be here.
Speaker, just for clarity, his prayer was for Defense and Interior, so it will be both of them.
Yes.
Okay, because I heard you say one, so.
No, I said
Defense,
Interior and that of Defense. Yes. So please schedule them and let them come. If the matter is so sensitive that we have to have them in closed sitting, we will do that. So I'll leave it with the Business Committee. But meanwhile, let me urge the member to also have personal discussions with the Minister for Interior and even that of Defense. See, some of these things at times we handle it personally, as you are actually responsible for the people of Wale Wale. Please have personal and direct discussion with the ministers. It's also very important, while we invite them to come and brief the House. Yes.
We're trying to help you to navigate. I would have wished, because of the nature of the subject matter and the fact that it is having a spillover in adjoining constituencies. And Speaker, his constituency is just one of the constituencies affected. I am also aware he's already engaged our colleague, Honorable Muntaka, on the subject matter. I would have wished that we give them next week, Wednesday, so instead of, with respect, giving it to the business committee, I would have wished a directive come from you that next week, Wednesday or Thursday. I'm aware His Excellency the President will be here on Thursday. So we can probably be working towards Wednesday. So if you find
I wouldn't mind doing that, but yes.
Speaker, the business committee met today and has planned for next week already. But this coming under statements, it can be accommodated under briefing. So let me humbly suggest that let's relate this matter to the two ministers and gather their convenience. It has to be a convert convenience. So once they confirm that, then we can accommodate them anytime next week when that is convenient for them. So my brother, be assured that as soon as the convenience is okay, because we want them to be here. We don't want excuses. So when both of them can come, then we can arrange them to appear and brief the House.
I am in total agreement with my colleague, except to say that this is the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. And the practice has been that we often give them dates where they have difficulty. The ministers, they get back to us. They get back to Parliament to say that the date is not convenient. And I think if we go by that practice, instead of, with respect to my colleague, saying that at their convenience, we as Parliament should be giving them a date and then to hear from their side. I think if we approach it in that manner, it's of best practice, and that has been the practice over the years.
Okay.
Speaker, I could say that, Speaker, I could pray that they should appear tomorrow, Friday, because of the urgent nature of the matter. But I want to avoid that and yet be able to get them to come timeously to brief the House. That is why I'm praying, my brother, that let me engage formally and see the nature of their schedules for next week. Because we are not bringing one, we are bringing both of them. So please, we'll accommodate them next week. We'll accommodate them next week.
It's not a good practice, with respect. It's not a good practice when we as Parliament will have to expect a date from the ministers. We have to give them date, and then they respond. We got to respect.
But Honourable Deputy Minority Whips, you see, at times it's also become a bit of a worry if you schedule a minister who probably might have also done his own schedules somewhere, and therefore you will be expecting the person will be away. So as much as we will not bring Parliament to its lowest level, that we will ask some people to actually dictate to us. But at times it's also better to negotiate and see the program of the minister. So, Honourable Majority Chief Whip, we will leave it with you. Quickly get back, if you can get back to us tomorrow, so that tomorrow, based on that, we can tell the House when we will get the ministers.
Indeed, Mr. Speaker, we'll do that. I'm certain that by tomorrow, presentation of business statements, this matter will be properly clarified as to when they can come next week. So I thank you for the opportunity.
You see, the executive must respect the chief whip. This is the chief whip, the majority chief whip. It's important the ministers respect him, and we are helping you to be respected. The ministers will not sit at the comfort of their offices and say that we will come next week as and when we have time. No, Chief will give them time and tell them that Parliament needs them. Yes, we must give you the power. We have to support you. We must support you to succeed. You are the Chief Whip. You are the majority Chief Whip. Let the ministers respect you.
Speaker, Speaker, I agree with my brother. So we'll convey the strong sentiments of the House and the request that both ministers appear jointly to brief the Speaker. The requirement of joint briefing, yes, the requirement of joint briefing is why it's pretty difficult to give assurance today as to next week. But I can give the assurance by tomorrow during business statement that I have conferred with them. Both of them have put their heads together and they will appear on so and so day. So that is settled. Speaker, relatedly, the honorable member for Nkwanta South also presented a statement in respect of some conflict situation in his area, and that day the indication, his prayer was that it will be referred to a committee for them to look into it. The referral wasn't done, so we are praying that if that can be consequentially done.
Well, let's take it so.
It was made on the 5th of February.
Very well.
In respect of Nkwanta South, also a conflict situation.
Honourable members, I think we'll bring the curtains down for the day. So, honourable leadership, if you wouldn't mind, may you move for the adjournment.
Speaker, thank you. Speaker, in the absence of any further business, I move that the House be adjourned for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honourable Minority Leadership.
I'm hesitant to second, but for some good reason, I rise to second the motion.
Honourable members, the motion to adjourn the House has been moved and has been seconded. The question is, all those in favour that today's sitting be adjourned to tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon, say aye. Aye. All those against, say no. Honourable members, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted, and the House is accordingly adjourned to tomorrow 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.